All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to another public video for newbiologyclinic.com. I wanted to go into something that I found interesting, just to kind of solidifying some of the things that we've been talking about in regards to position of the neck, shoulders, upper body in relationship to breathing. And it kind of really dawned on me um, when I was this past weekend, I was in a CPR first aid class, just keeping up with some of those things in order to do the things that I do in regards to teaching kids and working with people one on one or in person. Really wanted to make sure I know how to handle those situations, right? So I'm taking this class, and I've done this many times before, but we're working with these dummy things to work on the compressions and working on breaths and things like that in order to help them if they go into any sort of cardiac arrest or any sort of unresponsive nature for people. And it was interesting because the lady running it in charge was saying, for adults, in order to you tilt their head back, you have the face shield mask to breathe into. You really want to tilt their head back to open up the airway. But with younger kids, you don't have to move it as much. They said you kind of just keep it where it is. You just a little bit, not even that much to get into kind of a neutral position. But they said even then it's not really neutral. And it was just made me realize going, and they go, they don't need to go as far back. You can actually close their airway. And it made me immediately think, well, why would an adult we need to move it back so much, tilt their head so much to get the breath to actually go in? And when you're doing on these dummies and you breathe in, if they aren't tilted back enough, you'll see that the chest doesn't expand. And obviously got me thinking, it was going, it's interesting how, again, the more we fall into these positions as adult, just how difficult it is for me to get air into that dummy when it's here compared to when it's open up. And it made me laugh because it's going, wow, even in these dummies, they're showing that the posture of people, and most people, at least from what I was seeing and what is experiencing, we really are stuck so much in this position here that to get somebody else's breath to support the expansion and the relaxation of the lungs, you're going to really need to open that airway up. And it's going to be really difficult. Even if I'm giving all my breath to stay here, to let that air in and expand, it's very difficult. So when a lot of people are walking around with chronic fatigue or dealing with any sort of heart-related issues or dealing with any sort of respiratory issues or anything related to their gut, you see a lot of it has to do with their posture. And that dummy really actually helped me see it even more. That even with a child, when they're born, we're born in this with this innate position for most of us. Obviously, there's anomalies. There's certain people with, any sort of disabilities. They don't necessarily always have it. For the majority, though, children, we adults as well, when we were little, had this posture that was innate. It was part of our design, our perfect, beautiful design. And over time, we shift away from it. So it's seeing that you don't need to let in as much air when you have a proper position. And I'm not saying you have to be walking around like this, but when you can open yourself up, not just from here, but the whole chest, you can see that it actually takes less energy to let breath in and let breath out. But if we're here, we're struggling because now everything is now compressed. Everything is tensing. That fascia is tensing up through the midsection, your obliques, your diaphragm, your pelvic floor, your shoulders, your in between your rib cage. Everything is starting to lock in. And that isn't by our natural design. That is something that is a pattern that is built. It becomes habitual over time because of whether it's us sitting down, living in stress, holding our breaths, clenching all the time, not being able to let ourselves relax. So that was something I found very interesting just by watching working with these dummies and seeing, wow, it's right here. It's showing us right here that it doesn't take a lot to let breath in for a child, and not, I don't need to adjust them as much by even the Red Cross's way of doing things. Now, whether or not we fully agree with everything the Red Cross does and says, at the very least, we understand that there is some truths in everything. And this is one of those truths that I think is very prevalent and very present with what I was learning is that, yeah, we have this posture at birth. Many of us learn, we go on our tummy time, we go into our back, we learn to strengthen the back muscles. That's opening all this up. learning how to let breath in from that position. You let the spine be loose and limber, but not slouched all the time. You can move in and out of it, letting that breath continually in. You see it with kids. They're very active. They can go, go, go. They don't need to stretch. They can be loose. They can be light. They can contort. They can do all sorts of things. It's in naturally within us. And then over time, it starts to fade for many. So keeping that moving, keeping that looseness in the joints, keeping that lightness in the body, letting that breath move through us, not letting ourselves get stuck here. And if we are, how can we gently move out of that to give the space that's necessary? To give us the breath to be energized and continue on and not be fatigued all the time, right? So if any of this for you resonates, as in, hey, I have a hard time getting breath in. Hey, I feel like I'm slouched all the time. Hey, my kids can go, 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 and I can't. Oh, I'm just tired. We all are. But if any of this resonates with you and you want to learn more, you can go find more of this conversation at newbiologyclinic.com. Again, it's newbiologyclinic.com, where we do deep dives into these different aspects, these different conversations. Um, we do the classes, we do webinars, you can reach out to me one-on-one through, our different chatting portals that we have. We have other practitioners as well that you could talk to and reach out to with further questions that they might have a better answer for, and that's where we're here to help you. But I just wanted to show you that every answer, solutions, confirmations, they're all around us all the time if we're present. And for me, that was a moment that I experienced the other day where I was like, thanks for the reminder. Thanks for really instilling that this is something that we're on the right path in regards to looking at it from a position, not just let me sit tall, let me be tall, but it's going, what is actually happening throughout my body? Where's the support coming from? Am I stable? Can I sustain this position? And if I seem to be having a hard time with that, what can I then do? What are the necessary steps that I need to take? So I hope this helps. Hopefully you enjoy these different types of conversations. And on that, I'll see you all next time and have a lovely rest of your day. Bye, everyone.